Hey friends, welcome back to the Gentleman's Journey. Guys, in this one we're doing a 1-year review on my white smoke jumpers, but first we're going to take them out on the trails here at Lake Bob State Park over in Texas. Now don't give me a hard time about running these in Texas, guys. I run these all across Colorado, Washington, Wyoming, places like that. Today we're flatlining it, but hang back after the adventure because we're going to do a full 1-year review.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Well friends, I sure hope you enjoyed that hike as much as we did over here at Lake Bob State Park in Texas. Guys, today we are talking all about the white smoke jumpers. If you're just joining, my name is Charles. This is the Gentleman's Journey. We do a lot of guy related stuff and we do a bunch of boot reviews. So friends, today we're talking the 1-year review of these boots, and I couldn't wait to get this video in. So friends, we're gonna unpack how this boot has been for me over the past year. If you want to check out all the build quality, the construction, the nuts and bolts of these boots, be sure to check out my original video as we give you all the nitty gritty about these boots. But today, friends, we're going to talk about how they've been, so let's get right into it. Of course, one of the things that you want to know at a 1-year review is how was the break-in process. Guys, that's something that we talk about a lot here on the Gentleman's Journey, especially in the comments section. I get messages and DMs all the time asking how was the break-in process of this boot versus that. And I'll tell you what, there are standards in the industry, if you will, for how a boot should break in and what you should expect. But I'll tell you, it just varies a little bit on what a guy can handle, their own work environment. You know, did they take them up into the woods on a fire line day one, or was it something that you slowly worked into? So just be sure that it's going to be a little different for everybody. And then it depends on the leather, of course, and what series of boots. You'd like to think that a company stays the same and use the same quality products over the years, but we find some boots come right out of the gate. The new company hits the ground running. They have really good quality products, and then it starts to degrade over time. So, you know, all those factors will change it. But for me on the whites, I can tell you that I had essentially no break-in process. Now, is that something that you hear across the board? Not at all. In fact, I was talking to some wildland firefighters, and they were saying that theirs were really hard to break in. A couple of them told me that the nicks and the whites break in differently. They've ran both pairs. Of course, I've had nicks and whites, and they do break in differently, but I'm not comparing the exact same boots, so it's a different leather. Just looking here, friends, the toe box is really soft and supple. And that's not just because they're a year old. That's how they've been the entire time. This leather, even though it's extremely durable and thick, it came soft and supple right out the gate. So that's something in terms of the leather. Didn't seem to have any kind of break-in process on the uppers, up the shafts. But what did have a break-in process is that outsole and the midsole. So guys, this is stacked leather, of course stitched down construction, and you did have quite a bit of break-in process just getting that to feel comfortable. It is conforming to my own foot, so it feels very much like it's my boot. And that's one of the things that we go to when we go for these companies and that leather is that customized feel. So that's been something that I've enjoyed across the board with leather boots, is as you get into it, it becomes your boot, it becomes your footprint, and that just feels really good. So over the past year, friends, I haven't had any kind of complaints, any kind of major thing where I'm like, I want to send these back to whites, I'm not happy with them. Guys, they are tough as nails. I mentioned in the description or the title of the video, you know, is this the man's man boot, or is this, you know, something that a real man would have? And I'm just playing with you guys. I want to talk on that just a little bit real quickly, that, you know, a real man's boot is whatever gets him out the door, puts money in his wallet and provides for his family. So I don't even care if it's a tennis shoe. Maybe you're a track star and you know what, that's how you make money. A working man's boot is whatever he's wearing when he goes to work. So I thought I would just play with some guys there, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of working men who do wear this boot. And if you're outdoors, if you're in the woods, if you're a firefighter, if you want a good hunting boot, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to beat the Smokejumper. It's an icon, it's a classic, and it's just extremely durable. I would say out of my whole collection, if it was like end of the world and I had the wherewithal to get my backpack on and lace up a set of boots, right now this is what I would grab. And that's for real. Out of all my boots, this would be my survivor boot. I mean, if I was going to so many different locations, I would take this boot. Again, it's a 10-inch tall boot, so if you're talking protection up the calf and stuff, you got snake bite protection and different stuff like that. Extremely durable. It's going to give you all the ankle support you could need. It's going to get you in and out of any situation. But let's get back to a little bit of my thoughts on how the last year has been. Of course, this is the Fire and Ice, the white checkmark Vibram 100 lug outsole. And guys, this thing just doesn't give up. It doesn't quit. It's going to be a long time till I need a resole on these boots. One of the things about this boot is I do have to actually cause myself to go for it. It's not a boot. I just did a review on my Rossi boots, a 1 year review on the Rossi boots. It's an Australian made Chelsea boot. It just slips on, friends. So this isn't something that I'm just gonna grab and run out the door with. So I have to be very intentional because I don't have the job or the lifestyle that requires this boot. I do have to be intentional. We're at a state park here. We're just hiking the trails. Friends, this is stuff that you'll see often, you know, your grandma out hiking with the grandkids on these trails and stuff. This isn't some of the aggressive stuff that I do back home in Colorado and different places where we go up to Washington State and Montana and whatnot. So this isn't really a demanding environment, but I'll run these in places like that. And these boots have traveled the country with me, so I've hiked on trails all across America in these boots in the past year, and they really have taken me to some really beautiful spots. Again, I would grab these if it was the end of the world. I would grab these, but I haven't had any loose stitching coming out. Again, back to, you know, is there anything that would cause me to say, hey, this needs to go back, or I need something altered with my cobbler friend or anything? There's nothing I want to do to these boots. I mean, they are just right out the gate. They are awesome. And I haven't even conditioned them much. They haven't required it. Again, if you're working really hard, you know, run the Obanoff's oil or the LP, whatever you're into. That would be a great option. In terms of these are the same laces, you know, none of the speed hooks or eyelets have came out. None of the screws across the bottom have came out. And for me, it doesn't have the squeak. I do have some boots that squeak, and that's irritating. Especially I'll be hiking with my wife and then she'll mention it, and that's all I can think about the rest of the trail. And so I told her, if you hear it, don't even tell me about it, because I don't want to think about it. But some of those squeaks are just something, I can't get over that. Let me know in the comments, and other guys, what you do to quiet down your squeaky boots. But at any rate, these guys haven't done that for me. And I'm seeing these around the country, you know, in different hardware stores now. You can even get them it's a custom made boot, if you will, but they're starting to have them offerings on the shelf, if you will. So this boot, you know, if you and I were to order the same boot. And again, mine's an 11C. And so if you and I were to order the same boot, we'd get pretty much the same thing. So it's not bespoke by any means, but what White's offers, just like some of the other guys up in the Pacific Northwest, you can change out the leather and all that. You can go crazy with it. This one's pretty common because I wanted to make sure and have that fire safety rating. So I do have my red card for wildland firefighting. I've not fought fires before, and I don't know if I ever will, but I have it. And if I'm called to the occasion, that's another thing about this boot. It's ready to go fight fires. And so I'd probably need to up my training, if you will, but I've had that in the past, and it's something I've had interested in. So when I got the boot, what I wanted to do was a smooth on the toe box and then rough out on the upper. Well, they actually got back with me and said that if they were to reverse those two, it would take away the fire rating. So at that point, I knew that I couldn't go that direction anymore, and that I wanted to keep it fully roughed out. So if that's not important to you, even on these smoke jumper boots, you know, you can get in there and play with them a little bit. It'll just probably most likely take away that fire rating. So that's going to be important to some guys and not so much to others. Obviously, White's has so many boots you can choose from. You can go different directions. But in terms of the arch, this is the Arch Ease Last, and that's been just right out the gate, again, really comfortable. I'm amazed at this boot and how comfortable for me it's been right out the gate. Obviously, I'd love to know what your experience was, so let me know in the comments how your break-in period was. But for me, again, going back to the arch, that seemed to be really good for me. I have other boots in the 55 Last, and that Arch Ease is really nice. So that, again, when I talk about break-in and fit and configuration, some guys, it's hard to think about and comprehend, and maybe even understand, but these are expensive boots. But you may have to try a boot or two to figure out which White's Last works for you. Then you hop over to Frank's or you hop over to Nick's. You might try the same kind of last, and just the way they build it might fit different for you. So I just encourage you guys not to give these companies such a hard time. I see all the different little Facebook groups and all the little groups online, and people are quick to kind of want to point the blame at someone. And I say, when you get to this level boot, man, you really can't go wrong. If something's bad, obviously you're spending your good hard-earned money. We talk about that a lot. You know, send it back, do what you got to do. But you know, I would just say with life in general, see if you can't offer grace first, and see if the company isn't willing to fix it for you. I think 9 times out of 10, if you give a company grace right up front, you tell them what's going on, you let them know, chances are they're probably gonna fix it for you quicker than if you start, you know, getting on the phone and just screaming at them right away. So at any rate, let me know how some of that stuff's been for you guys. Again, a little tip I always tell guys, you know, I've had a good go with these laces, but make sure, especially if you're working, I mean, you're a guy that gets in the truck, you go 15 miles up into the woods, then you got to huff it back in. Last thing you want to do is have a lace break, and then you're just stuck out there. It was just a horrible day at work. There's probably no worse day at work than having a busted lace, or you're trying to tie a knot in the middle or something. So that's a good rule of thumb. Just if you're on a business trip and you got some loafers or something, make sure and have an extra set of laces for that. Again, to the conditioning, you know, I'd say Oberknopf's is the way to go. That's what they recommend on most of these boots. Get it going with your boots and your leather, and start keeping an eye on them, seeing what they need. You'll get a feel for it. Sometimes people try to overcomplicate it. Main thing you want to do is make sure that you're not putting too much on and soaking them, saturating them. And don't wait too long either. You know, even if you're not using them every 6 months or something, get in there and put a little bit of conditioner on them. If you're using them every day, I always say, why not buy 2 sets of boots? You sit there and you can't decide if you want whites, if you want all these different profiles they have. Why not buy one, and then a couple months later, when you get some money saved up, buy another pair. That way, when you're cleaning one pair of boots, you can stick the other pair, you know, off to the side and clean them, and then you got another set to take to the job site with you. So that's pretty much my rule of thumb, is if you got a work boot and you demand those boots for what you do, chances are you probably need at least 2 pair. And so, you know, that's a good option for you guys to go with too. But let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, guys. We're gonna give these things a little bit more work this coming year. I'm really excited about that. Friends, we got some fun stuff as we close off 2023. I'm very optimistic about 2024, not only for my life, but for you guys. Just know I'd love to pray for you guys. If you have anything going on, hit me up in the comments below. We'd love to just make sure that we all hit 2024 really strong. But got some fun videos coming out on the channel as we close out this year. And so I think that's going to do it for this one, friends. Again, ask me any questions you have in the comments below, and make sure to give those boots some love from time to time. We'll catch you in the next video.